we already actually entered into the next level, what's called the Oimek Yeser, Tzuro Atzmis, even deeper than the Oises HaHakiko. But I read through the notes, and I just want to make an important clarification. When we talked about Oises HaKsiva, and the Oises HaKsiva, the Rebbe says that this is like a Dover and Esav, like an added thing.
Like what?
Like an added thing, like something that is added onto the cloth. And I just want that we should understand there's a very important subtlety in this. Clearly, the ink is something added to the paper. It's not part of the paper. But that is not what we mean by Dover Nesav.
What is Nesav?
Edit.
Oh, no, Sef.
Because when the ink is applied to the paper, then that expresses, that reveals the oisius as they are inherent in the paper. That is the point of the oisius, not the ink. The ink, of course, is a Dover Nesav. When we say that the oisius are k'moi Dover Nesav, ink is not k'moi Dover Nesav. Ink is in fact a Dover Nesav. Ink doesn't come from the paper. We have been pointing out that really this whole explanation of Oises HaKsiva seems would be counterintuitive to the way we relate to things. Because to us the letters is the whole thing. They're looking at the letters, not even looking at the paper. The reason that we are looking at the letters, I have to go and have the whole thing out. The reason we're looking at the letters is because the letters call our attention, not because they are the reality. The reality is the paper, like we explained yesterday and then before, that there is emes and then there is sheker. The emes is omnipresent. It reminds me of a presentation of an episode, of a sarcastic story that in Poland there was always the dealing with all kinds of planning. Everything couldn't go straight, had to go a little bit sideways. So a boy was born in the family. So the parents run to the Rebbe, we had a boy today. It's all mazel tov. Rebbe, we have a problem. What's the problem? We can't figure out which way to register him, that he was born yesterday or born tomorrow. So the Rebbe says, what's the problem? If we say that he was born yesterday, then he would be conscripted a day earlier. If he was born tomorrow, he'd be conscripted a day later. So which one is, but then if it's a day later, then he's going to stay longer in the conscription. A day earlier, he's going to be released early. So which one should we choose? So the Rebbe says, real problem. How about registering him that he was born today? Oh, I haven't even thought about it. Rebbe, the expression is dort wo teure, dort wo chochme. Chochme is hidden where the teure is. That never even occurred to me. So that which attracts our attention, so to speak, that seems to us to be that reality with which we are dealing with. That is a very fundamental error. This is not the reality, and this is not what we are living with. In fact, we are living with the simplicity, the simple reality. And the simple reality, this is what we say, that this is the Beis Bora Elikim Shemayim V'Torah. This is the Hashem's presence, Hashem's creation. And therefore, what is the first thing, the natural thing, the most simple presence is the paper. This is what facilitates, what provides for the letters to be written. If not for that provision, the letters couldn't be written. We couldn't even think of writing letters. So as we explained throughout this whole thing, it's subtle, but it's very real, that when we are looking at written letters, there are two ways of looking, as we said. There is a way that you're looking at the letters exclusively, and then you reformat the letters in your mind, and that's what you pronounce. And there is another thing, another way, that you're looking at the letters as they are on the paper. Like in the Sefer Torah, the letters have to be perfectly whole, written out. It is not an allusion to a letter, it is the actual letter. So the written word is an actuality, and the reason it is actual is because it has this background that provides for this actuality. It is written on an actual reality on a piece of paper. So therefore what we are looking at is really on the piece of paper. The letter as it is on the piece of paper. The piece of paper is what gives the letter a presence. Very important to understand that. As we explained, what gives a table a presence? The room. This is what gives a table a real presence, rather than just an active, a functional presence, a temporary presence. When the Rebbe is explaining that in the Eish Haksav, it is not really one, and it is not really presenting the inyan the way it is in the parchment. It says k'moi dover nesav, not dover nesav, k'moi dover nesav. It is almost like a dover nesav. In what way is it dover nesav? Because the parchment or the paper is white. And how do you see the letter? By concealing its whiteness, by hiding it, and then there is that letter. So therefore, this concealment shows you the letter in a manner that k'moi dover nesav, like it were something added to the cloth. It's not added really, and it's not talking about the additional ink. We're talking about that which the ink reveals from the paper, but reveals from the paper through a camouflage manner, to concealing it rather than to revealing it. Therefore, this is like the k'moi dover nesav, because this concealment does not inherently incorporate in the paper. It's just something which the ink accomplishes. In contrast, so this is an important thing, in contrast to Oises Hachkiko, where the Chkiko is directly from the stone, but in the stone. So therefore, how do you see that there are oases in the stone? Not by concealing anything, by revealing what's in the stone. To put this at rest again, I repeat this all the time, I want to refresh a very important principle. And it has to be refreshed all the time because, as I said, it's totally counter to the way we're used to thinking And yet, this is really the reality. And if you think deeply into it, we see that this is what we really feel comfortable with. We said that after the Tzimtzum, there was Cholol or Mokim Ponu. Cholol means an emptiness. Mokim Ponu means a vacant space, place. These are two seemingly synonymous ways of describing the situation. They're not synonymous at all. Because a Cholol means emptiness. Emptiness does not provide for anything. Emptiness is just letting whoever wants to grab it, grabs it. There's no real provision. This emptiness concept, this is the way the world, this is a secular way of looking at it. There is nothing there. There's emptiness. And therefore we go, the emptiness, I can't put this down there. When we are putting things down in emptiness, there is no fundamental basis for that thing to be there. And therefore that thing has to support itself 100%. This is why their view of everything that's going on in the world is that everything is constantly fighting for its existence. Because it doesn't have a basic reason to be, a basic right to be. There's no provision for it to be. It is in emptiness. Emptiness? Just as this thing occupies the emptiness, something else can come and push it away and occupy the same emptiness. There is no such thing as occupying an emptiness. You are there only actively occupying. You cannot occupy emptiness per se. Only as long as you're holding on to it, you're holding on to it. And when I come and push you away, so I'm holding on to it. And I'm holding on to it only because I'm holding on to it. From that perspective, we always speak about ownership of property. That wouldn't exist. Doesn't exist. It's all conventional. This is how they look at it. Because there's no such thing, ownership. It's all emptiness. Then there is the other expression, comes along with it, Mokim Ponu. Mokim Ponu means available space. Available space is a completely different concept. In other words, there is mokum, there is place providing for whatever the mokum is able to provide for. And this is, ponu is available. And when you put something there, that's what the mokum is for. To hold this thing that you put into it. And this is what the Rebbe said in creation, gave the right to the human being to occupy this place. This is what the whole concept, as we explain all the time, the concept of ownership and all that is based on this. That is the reality with which we are relating all the time, without unawares of it. So no matter how much they're trying to convince us that we are in a precarious, always in precarious state, always afraid for our existence, we're not. Because there's a basic reality to everything that exists. Why? Because Rebbe provides for it. This is a mokum ponu. I explained that the word mokum ponu is related to the expression that we always have, there is room to say. There's a place for this concept. A place for this concept means that yesh mokim leiman. There's a place for it. This is mokim ponu. The place itself provides for this and allows it to be and holds on to it. Therefore, this is the reality.
And the chulul is before the mokum ponu is on the chulul?
The cholol, as I explained another time, that cholol is the klipa way of looking at mokim ponu, is the kedusha way. Mokim ponu keeps everything that's in there related back to its source. Cholol doesn't relate to the source. Cholol is independent. So when we are looking at the letter on the parchment, what do we see? That the letter is grabbing a spot on the parchment and fighting for its existence, or we see that no, it belongs there. The parchment provides for it. This is what gives the letter a presence. The letter is not there in a precarious way, always holding on, lest some other letter comes and pushes me away. No such thing. It's written there to stay. Because the parchment provides for it. That is the most important aspect of this learning. This is what we are learning about. This is why we say that the letters are giluim, reveal things from the parchment. Because they're revealing the reality that the parchment provides. And this is the two things. This is haksav, that reveals it through concealment, and we said because it's through concealment, therefore it's like a dover neisav. It doesn't show how the letter is actually inherent, present. He has to first conceal its pshitus, and then there is oises achkiko, that reveals it directly from the Avonton. Okay, now we go into where we're up to. So, let's start over again from Emek Yeser. Just go ahead and over to hop in there. The line begins. It's just the middle of the page, just below the exact limit. The line begins with atzmius.
So a deeper level than what you just explained.
Huh?
So there's going to be a deeper explanation of what you just explained?
No, it's a different view of the concept of oises atzmim, of tziyur atzmi. To write out tziyur atzmi is a tziyur that is in the atzm, in the Avontev itself. It's still oisius.
So the
And
whole
they-
concept of osios is what you just described.
Right,
whole
oisius.
concept
They say
doesn't have
aksava and
its
they
own
say achkiko.
growth.
And now he says that there is a deeper way. Boimek yoser inyan tzuro atzmis. The concept of tzuro atzmis. Tzuro atzmis. Let's translate that word. Then we'll begin to look for its most literal meaning. An essential tzura. An essential tzura means a tzura that reveals, that speaks of the essence in which it is engraved, in which it represents. A letter is not representing a stone. Tzura atzmis is a tzura that represents the etzem. Which is what that is. And boimekesh tzura shezehu, that this is masheho etzem mitztayer bozeh. That the etzem itself means the very essential element. What the etzem is, mitztayer bozeh, formulates itself in it. Let's go back to the word etzem. Again, as we discussed just now, etzem means that the fundamental reality. What's meant etzem? How can a fundamental reality be mitztayer in a tzura? Tzura is by definition is something which is a tzura. It has a form. So he says, nevertheless, that there is such a thing as tzura atzmis. So etzem mitztayer b'zeh. Ve'ein zeh k'mo yoseh zahakiko hanal. And therefore, this, what we are alluding to now, what we're going into now, is something which is quite different than the oishes hakiko. The oishes hakiko, as we said, is in the etzem, but nevertheless, but the tzura atzmis is a completely different thing. Tzura atzmis is that the tzura comes literally from the etzem, not that it is superimposed on the etzem. Shezehu ragilehu etzem. The Oises HaHakiko is only a gilui of the etzem. And once you megala, you're showing the etzem via these oisius. V'loi ho etzem mamos, but it is not the etzem itself.
Gilui of the etzem, but not the etzem itself.
Gilui ho etzem, and not the etzem. Right? Gilui and the essence are not the same thing. To put it on the simplest term, to be first getting into it, more than the simplest term, something that's walking, you know that it's alive. But when you're standing still, it's also alive. Therefore, the walking is only a gilui of the living. It is not the essence of life. You cannot walk unless you're alive. But walking does not represent the essence of life.
It's like an ice.
Huh?
It's walking is like an ice.
Walking is like a noise. It's a noise hakiko because it is part and parcel of life. But it's not representative of life per se. Because life, in a static way, is also life. Look at gilui. Gilui means something that is megala, that shows that this is alive. But it's only showing it. There's a story with the Beis and AyinBase. Beis and AyinBase. This is going back in the time before the Baal Shem Tov's time, in those years. Even as AyinBase, who was a giant, as a child, a giant is a giant child also. So he was a child and was a smart kid. So one time he came home and he was hungry, and they saw in the pot there was a chicken cooking. So he took a polke out and he ate up the polke. So I'm not sure whether it was his mother or stepmother said, "What happened to the polke?" I don't know. Where's the second polke? This chicken must be betatas and must have come with a single polke. So the mother says, "It's impossible. There's no such thing, a chicken with a single polke." So he takes her out to the yard, and there's a chicken standing on one leg. So he says, "See, things on one leg." "Oh yeah, but if you run it and you drive it, you'll see that it'll start running on two polkas." So he says, if you start running and driving this chicken, it'll also run it, but show the second polka. Listen to that gilui in the etzem. It's not the etzem itself.
Totally didn't get that. Sorry.
How can you be worried?
I didn't get I didn't get how it relates to what we're talking about.
Try to get chicken in the pot to start running.
Until that. When he ate
How's
one.
it Gilly Ha'etzim?
Gilui etzem, Gilui etzem. Gilui etzem.
When you chase the chicken.
When you chase the chicken. It says, chase the chicken that's in the pot. It will also show the second leg. So this is the Nikud over here. Oises hakiko shezeho rak gilui ho'etzem. Oises hakiko are more than oises haksiva. Oises haksiva, as we discussed, is even less. This is min ho'etzem. This is gilui ho'etzem, but not ho'etzem mamish. Etzem mamish means that you are capturing the entire principle of this etzem. not one function of it or another function of it, but the entire principle is meant Gilim, the Etzem itself. Sharei Ho'esiyos. Why do we say that this is Gili Ho'etzem, not the Etzem? Sharei Ho'esiyos, since that these Ho'esiyos Einom Tzuras Ho'etzem Shel Hadovar. This is not the Tzura of the Etzem, of the essence of this thing. In other words, if you see these Ho'esiyos, does it automatically tell you, the Ois, does it tell you that this is metal or that this is a stone? These are two separate things. The Haina HaMatecha says Ho'evan Toiv. The Tzura Ho'esiyos is not a Tzura of the Matches or the Evan Toiv. K'agavna. Kiyim only shezehu tziyur beho etzem. It's a tziyur in the etzem, in the matches. The hainu gili mimenu. It's a gili from the etzem. And again, going back to emphasis, rak shehagilu rak, except since this is the etzem is involved in this gili, not like in ksiva. Shehagilu hu min ho etzem. That the gilui is from the etzem itself, because the etzem itself is involved in this gilui. The gilui is from the etzem itself, directly from the etzem, and not not, as we said, as if like it were a davar neisa v'lo etzem. In the Eishes Aksiva, it's like davar, not davar neisa. Which means that the tzir is in the etzem, within the etzem itself, and not like the Yosef the Ksav, shedovar acher, where a different thing, it's a separate thing, the yoy is what makes the tzir from the klaf, and therefore it is not, the tzir is not of the tzir is not within the etzem itself.
Sorry, I must clarify. On Sunday, you will give example of Mino etzem. You use the contrast between the moichin and midis, and in there we said that the nefesh itself provides from moichin. From that's how it's mino etzem, because etzem is, so to say, actively provides for chokhmah, for sefer. Mashiach, in this case, we're talking about where a stone or whatever it may be, or matchas, it does not produce oisius. So, is it still fair to say that it's a gilui mino etzem nonetheless?
Yeah.
So that's what.
Okay. Because
clearly so. That's what it is.
What?
No, because I was confused, because over there, that example that you gave, you were saying that
the stone is not alive, so it's not a nefesh. You have to think things, everything in context.
Oh, fine. So I just right. But nonetheless, that's what we are saying.
But we are saying that when you're looking at the oasis, you're looking at the stone in the form of the oasis.
Right. Right.
Not on the yoy which conceals the parchment. In contrast to the Yosef Aksiva.
Just yesterday in the class, you were saying here, I think that in this world there is no such a thing as an etzem, and that's why we confuse this Mosholim are sort of confusing in this regard, because they don't really provide actively for the OCS. Unlike Mashiach and Nefesh does.
One second.
It's not what you.
No, yeah. Therefore, since in the world there is no such thing as etzem, but yet, nevertheless, we speak about etzem when we saying etzem hadover, the matches and the stone, etzem hadover. So how is that a muscle for etzem? You understand?
Yeah.
So we explain it's a muscle for etzem because it is there without your adding anything. Like it is exactly the way it is. He was born today, not yesterday, not tomorrow. This is not etzem, in the context of the world.
Right. Again, I just want to ground it. That it is fair to use this term min ha'etzem, gilui min ha'etzem in context of a stone or matches, just understanding that that we're not talking about that it itself actively produces oysters, but nonetheless the term is fair to use.
Rabbi is using it. That's what a moshel is.
Okay.
A moshel is to bring things within the realm of your own experience.
Mm-hmm.
Midas also were mina etzem. It was just that it wasn't kumaya etzem. On seichel is kumaya etzem. Right? This is the terms that we use.
Well, midas are a step removed. Midas are a derivative of seichel. Midas are separate mitzvahs. Separate in
It's only ka'ofen ha'etzem.
Oifen ha'etzem means it's only alluding to the etzem. It's not from the etzem itself. What gives chayas to the seichel? Yeah, we never.
Okay, fine.
All right. Behind שעתירו בעצם גופה, ולוי כמו יויס, אלוי כמו יש עכשיו, שדבר אחר, שהוא הדיוי, הוא האיס העתיר בהכלל. איש עכשיו is on a level below the oises hakiko. Because in oises hakiko it is, the tziyur is made through adding something to covering the cloth. Whereas in Oises Achkiko, the oases are coming out from the stone itself. Avol, so the tzir is in the etzem itself. Avol einoi ho'etzem mamos, but it is not the etzem. The oases is not the etzem. The oases are oases put into the etzem or revealed from the etzem. All right, this is it for this morning. What happened? It's off?
I guess the
Yeah, it's off. Unbelievable. Oh, no, it's not off. It's on. Okay, have a good day.